Donald Trump is at it again, encouraging violence against the media, but not just all of the media in a general sense. That would be bad enough. No, he is targeting an individual media outlet for retribution from one of his deranged followers, tweeting, "The New York Times reporting is false. They're a true enemy of the people." And so the New York Times now has been labeled by the president as your enemy. And so if you're one of his followers who has been told this for years and you got an arsenal of weapons and all of that, I mean, what do you do to your enemy? How do you respond to a person who is your enemy, who is going out of their way to lie about your God-given president? Hopefully we won't find out. I mean, we probably will, because there's been threats against any number of other organizations that he has personally attacked, including bomb threats at CNN. One of his followers sent pipe bombs to a ton of organizations specifically because he had been targeting them. So if you're at the New York Times, I empathize with you. I would be terrified. I would be out of my mind scared right now from the direct threat against the New York Times. And so thankfully people have been responding to that. AOC tweeted, "While the right keeps screeching on calling everything socialism, as nations with universal health care and better work standards enjoy better health and work life than Americans, they happily cheer on an authoritarian president and defend the destruction of American democracy." The New York Times publisher A.G. Sulzberger responded saying, "The phrase enemy of the people is not just false, it's dangerous. It has an ugly history of being wielded by dictators and tyrants who sought to control public information, and it is particularly reckless coming from someone whose office gives him broad powers to fight or imprison the nation's enemies. As I have repeatedly told President Trump face to face, there are mounting signs that this incendiary rhetoric is encouraging threats and violence against journalists at home and abroad." And that is 100% true.
I don't know how soon we forget these things. Actually, I do. As you talk about the pipe bombs and then the threats to CNN and things like that. So somehow it's continuing to maybe it's not letting him off the hook, because as you said, there's some instances, but it should be across the scale, broad rejection of this type of rhetoric. Fox News should be coming out saying again, because there was a few the last time this went through, they said, you know what, we do need to tone down this rhetoric. It should be immediate and swift to where he's ashamed to do stuff like this. But the problem is, we forget enough. His entire life, he's been able to get away with doing the same thing he's always done and getting a slap on the wrist, if that, and moving on and doing it again. An indication that a newspaper's reporting is probably accurate is when Donald Trump goes nuclear and starts telling you to go attack.
Yeah.
That's probably a good indication that what they've said has really gotten to him. He's like, they're really close now.
Yeah.
Let me go and hit my Twitter fingers and find a way to shift this back towards them, because my rabid supporters are my livelihood here.
Yeah, and sort of perversely, it's like a boy who cried fake news thing. Let's say that the New York Times did purposefully report something false. How would we ever know? Donald Trump would attack it as false, but he does that all the time when it's true.
Yeah.
We would have no way of knowing. And so why is he doing this? Well, there was a lot of negative reporting in the New York Times and out of it, but specifically in the New York Times, we found out yesterday that he dispatched the acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker to try to put a loyalist in charge of the Southern District of New York investigation of him paying off women to hush them up during the 2016 campaign. If that reporting is true, 100% obstruction of justice, obviously, clearly obstruction of justice. That's why he's worried about it. And he's worried about that investigation too, because he doesn't have some of the protections from that investigation that he does from presumably the Mueller investigation. You also had, they tried to oust the independent watchdog in the Department of Education because she was making sure that an investigation of Betsy DeVos wasn't derailed. So again, that's less clearly obstruction of justice, but clearly corrupt for him to be doing that. We also found out yesterday that he's trying to set up a series of nuclear power plants in Saudi Arabia, which might literally break the law for nuclear proliferation. So it was a big day in the news for the president. All those stories will definitely stick around. We'll definitely learn more about those soon. But yeah, this is absolutely terrible. If I was the New York Times, I would be so worried right now. And if something does happen, like, I understand the right is gonna leap to his defense and imply that he had nothing to do with it. But is he not setting the stage for it right now?
The only way you can, I'm sorry, run over it, but the only way you can believe this type of stuff is to also have the mindset that you should do something about it. You give a laundry list of things that have been accurately reported about what this president has done in the past and recent past and current, and man, if the news media made all this up, this is rabid crazy, like the country's upside down.
Yeah.
They make all this up to that degree, and if you really believe that, you think, hey, it's all over, might as well start shooting. I mean, that's the way the thought process has to go for someone like that.
Watch our video of how many Trump supporters have more faith in InfoWars than the New York Times. So it apparently is working. I will close by saying I want to tie this in with my ongoing effort to make sure that people have more civic knowledge. And so a little bit of constitutional homework. We should occasionally look over the Constitution, learn stuff. I will give you a random section to look up based on this story. We'll go with the 25th Amendment. Look it up, figure out what it's about. Maybe it applies to the situation. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.